Hello, 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 crossroads, witches, and other interesting magical beings. It's springtime. I'm working on my new gardens. For update, I moved here last July, and so this is my first springtime, and I've been walking around figuring out where I want different flower beds, where I want to put different plants. Talking with the genie loci, with the spirit of place, seeing who likes what type of plants. And one of the things I plan on doing is creating a devil's garden, or a baneful garden, or a night garden. It has many different names. And I was talking with some of my other magical friends, and we were chatting up on it, and they were asking about what books do I use? How am I going about this? So I thought I would share with you all where I draw some of my inspiration from the books that I like. And I want to start by saying I like the older stuff is what found out. Either that or my library's old. One of my favorite ones that I really like is The Magic Garden. And this is by Anthony Merchante. I'm really bad with names. But this is the myth and folklore of flowers, plants, trees, and herbs. I really like this. His myths, the stories, because that's part of developing a relationship with the plants, is learning the stories of it. Learning their places in history. It also has some great little rhymes in here. And when it comes to some of the baneful plants, I feel like it's handled really well in here. Another one that I have fell in love with, and I found out that he has another book coming out, and I'm so excited. And this is The Poison Path Herbal by Kobe Michael. And OM. I just can't go through enough of his history of the baneful plants, the respect that he takes with it. When we're talking about creating a devil's garden, it's not that I want a devil's garden so that I'll be like, ooh, I'm going to curse and hex people. But I want a devil's garden because I like the energy of it. I like tending those type of plants. I love some of the night bloomers. I love, the datura families, the nightshades. I think they're amazing. And there's something about their energy that I find very energizing. Many of what we call baneful do have other uses. They are useful. They're not, it's just baneful, don't have it. But they have other attributes to them as well. I think the big thing with Devil's Garden is you don't so much pick the location as much as the genie loci, the spirits of place, tell you where this needs to be in your yard. Do not just be like, oh, I'm going to put it here because I want it there. All right, if the spirit of place doesn't want that garden there, it ain't going to grow really well. You're just going to be struggling. Take the time to identify the space. Typically, first of all, you're looking for a place that's going to give you the afternoon shade. You want a more shaded, a more filtered space. And you also want it more protected in the evening from the chill. So according to your geography, according to how your garden's laid out, the space you have, you may have a small space in the back corner of your yard, or it may be in the center of it. I'm identifying a space over here that leans to the west side of my property, that it gets an afternoon filtered shade, and I've been walking it here in the evening as well to see how I feel about it. I lit a candle out there, I said some prayers, and I'm going back over there again this coming full moon to walk out that space and to see if that space itself is lending to me planting baneful plants there. Another one that I like is Corinne Boyer's book. This one is Plants of the Devil, and this is actually not one of the older books. This one I really enjoyed. I thought she had some really good stories. 2021. Okay, so Three Hands Press. Three Hands Publishing has some really good stuff. Love this little book. Love the stories in it. And I also, let me get here, and I love the fact that it has a bibliography. It really gets me when books don't have bibliographies. This is another one that is an older book, and I really like it. And this is Anne Dowden's Poisons in Our Path, Plants That Harm and Heal. What I was talking earlier. A lot of plants that we call baneful also have beneficial qualities to them. This is a little short book, but I was to say the one thing I do like about this book is the fact that it's illustrated. I really enjoyed her different stories. She was really good about telling the entire story of the plant, and so she went down there. And one of my all-time favorite books that I just got here and I've been reading is The Witch's Garden. And this is Witch's Garden by Sandra Lawrence. Love this book. Plants in Folklore, Magic, and Traditional Medicine. And this has some baneful, but it more of the medicinal qualities. Again, great bibliography, well researched, cited. She tells some stories that I had not heard before about some of the plants, and so I went and looked them up, and I was like, wow, I did not know that. Very well researched book. Here's a book that I got from the Crossroad Books, Crossroad Publishing. I'm going to say they sent me this book. It is an older book, I think, that she brought back out. It's a new book, but it's Bud, Blossom, and Leaf, the Magickal Herb Gardener's Handbook. I thought this was a really nice overview. It sort of reminded me a little bit of Scott Cunningham with some of the associations. I think this leans a little more towards the Wiccan, pagan flavor. But I really enjoyed the book and found some useful information in it. My newest book that I cannot wait to get into is Botanical Curses and Poisons, The Shadow Lives of Plants by Fez Inkwright. And I have bruised through this and I am just drooling over it with a lot of the stories that are in here, the breakdown on the plants themselves, how they're used, where they were used, some of the different chants and incantations that are associated with some of the different plants. And Fetz did an amazing job. Like I said, when I went into, when I bruised through the book, what I really liked was all sorts of little rhymes, incantations, chants that are associated to different plants. But I'm really looking forward to this. And this is some of the research that I'm doing, and I will slowly decide what plants are going to work well in my area, my region. I'm going to make sure I know the stories of those plants. They're well researched, and I'm going to pick a spot and put them in it. And as I develop my plan and everything, my next thing is to get me a piece of paper and write down some of the different plants that I plan on using and start sourcing them. And it may take me a year or two to slowly develop this plan. I am not in a rush. when it comes to creating a magical garden, whether it's a devil's garden, it's a fairy garden, it's a moon garden, it's an herb garden, take your time is my biggest advice. Really make sure that the location that you pick is going to be good for whatever plantings you're using. And also learn the stories of the plants. Learn those wonderful little rhymes and chants so that when you pick it up and you work with it and you're working, wanting to awaken, wanting to connect with the spirit of the root, you have all of this knowledge that you can use, all right? I think that's where I'm at right now with my Devil's Garden. I'm in the planning stages of it. And like I said, I'm not in a rush. I've got some great books that I'm going through and really enjoying them. And that's part of the journey with it. So I'll keep y'all updated as I get further along with that. Tell me about your gardens. Do you have magical gardens? I'm really sort of wanting to know, like, how many other witches have magical gardens? Is there a lot of us out there? Do you have themed gardens? Have you really gone out? Or do you just have a couple of plants? I'm sort of curious to find this one out. So write it in the comments below. And of course, please go read those comments. We've got some smart magic folk that leave good information down there. And with that said, get out there, fly those brooms, have a bright, blessed day. And as always, amen, blessed be, ashe, and a bobo.